Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. That's right, and I'm back with vengeance. Listen, you guys have been driving me nuts again. And I don't like to be driven nuts because then I go crazy and I do crazy things. And because you drove me nuts, I am going to do something crazy this week. You know what that is? I have created a monster. I have created a monster. And his name is Dr. Transit. And he is going to be here hosting my show starting Friday on my second YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/astrology KRSchannel. That's what happens when you drive me nuts. I'm going to drive you nuts, more nuts than you can ever be nuts. And while you're eating nuts. Because many of you were like, where's the conjunction video? Where's the ascendant through planet through ascendant video? Where is the Rahu Nakshatra video? Oh man, listen, this week we'll just make it a transit week on my channel. I still haven't even gotten to Saturn for all the ascendants on my new channel. Because when I created this monster, Dr. Transit, he told me, look here, Sonny, you ain't going to be hosting that show anymore. I'm going to take some stress away from you. So I'm going to host the show. I'm like, hey man, whatever it takes to take stress away from me, this crazy mind. So yeah, Dr. Transit is going to be here. He's actually working on the laboratory right now. He doesn't want to be bothered, but he is working in the lab, getting the lab ready for Friday. So, Dak, hey Dak.
What, you fool?
I'm filming a show here. Can we not do like experiments while I'm filming a show and these hot lights are on?
Oh, you too. You don't know what I'm working on. I'm working on something really big.
You know, Doc, you got a show here on Friday. And this is not the kind of attitude people are looking from your show on Friday.
No, it's not on Friday. It's exactly in 36 hours, 24 minutes, and 53 seconds. 52 seconds.
Well, all I can say is you guys are on your own with this guy. With this one, you're on your own. I am not going to be helping you guys at all on this. All right, so let's get started with our show. Now, anyway, today we're going to be, Doc, that's dangerous. Don't plug that in. Come on, man. I'm sorry. You drove me nuts. I got nuts and I created this. So you're on your own. So yes, today we're going to be doing Saturn going over other planets for 2017 transit, because Saturn is going to be entering the sign of Sagittarius in January, in the beginning of January. And I already made the Saturn part 1. This is part 2. So we're going to try to understand this. And if you do not know what ascendant you have, what other planetary placements you have, so you can see where Saturn will be going over, what planet Saturn will be going over in Sagittarius, all your astrological details, and my books, my consultations for that, and reports, check out the links here, and just click on the link and you will be seeing all your details here that you want. So, Saturn going over planets. So I'm going to be covering Saturn going over Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn itself, including Rahu and Ketu. Okay. Now, this is quite easy actually. As much as you think this is complicated and it should take a long time, surprisingly, I've actually made a video last year, not last year, was it 2014? 2014 end, when Saturn was entering Scorpio. And I went over the part where Saturn was going over other planets. Okay. Because here's the thing you got to realize with Saturn. Whenever Saturn goes over a certain planet, or whenever Saturn, through transit, aspects another planet with its third 7th and 10th aspect, meaning Saturn will always look at the 3rd place from itself, 7th place from itself, and 10th place from itself counterclockwise. These planets really get affected, okay? But we're mainly talking about going over. But it's quite similar to looking at other planets, but a little bit different. Oh man, will I have to cover that too now for you guys? Can you guys do without it? All right, look at this. I'll cover the aspect part on my new channel. All right, fine. So what you got to understand, anytime Saturn transits over another planet, naturally, regarding that planet is going to bring duty, commitment, responsibility, and structure. That's the main thing it'll do with every single planet. It will also show limits. It will also show limits because Saturn is limits. So instead of, let's say, you having your big ego, like, yeah, look at me, man, I got like 5 Ferraris, 2 Bentleys, and 3 mansions, then Saturn's going to say, well, you did not really put a boundary around you. You just went like a drunken sailor and bought everything. So Saturn, whatever planet is doing this for you, is going to put a boundary, meaning suddenly you feel restricted. You're like, hey, how come my Ferraris are disappearing? How come these houses are disappearing? How come I cannot buy anything more? Well, because Saturn said to be in your limits. You know the saying, don't spend more than you can spread your legs? That did not really sound good. That did not come out right. But you know the saying when they say, don't push your legs beyond the blanket? I think that sounded PG there. That's what Saturn is. So Saturn, like, look, I gave you all that money. I gave you all that fame. I gave you everything. Why didn't you save that money? Why didn't you invest that money? Why didn't you keep that money for rainy day? You did all this lavish, and now I have to come over you and I have to limit it, because that's the thing. I have to show you your boundaries, what your limits are. So that's what Saturn is doing over every planet. So now, when it goes over the sun, obviously what's going to happen naturally, and we're going to get to the sign later. Very simple. We're going to get to the sign later for every planet. Saturn is naturally going to suppress your ego, your pride and self-esteem. Meaning that if before this transit, you were all gloating about your nice car, you were all gloating about, my family is this, I have a political connected family. What it will do, it'll hurt your ego. Because Saturn's job is to make every planet humble. His job is to not suppress, literally, that's the wrong way to use that Saturn's position, is to restrict it to a point where it sees the reality and not be an illusion. So over sun, naturally a person feels like too many responsibilities are over them. Their ego gets dampened because of the fact now they cannot gloat anymore, they cannot show off anymore. But a person becomes very disciplined, structured, because sun is your part of your character, is part of your soul, part of your personality, part of who you are as a person. Also, this shows, especially, okay, and this is for all the signs in Sagittarius, because Saturn is gonna do completely different things in different signs. If this was Aries and Saturn was transiting over your sun, most definitely you would have been found humiliation and insults. When sun is debilitated and Saturn goes over it, that's good, because Saturn is exalted. Saturn is happy. It's like he was supposed to teach you a lesson, but Saturn just like, what's up, son? Yeah, see you in 30 years. Bye-bye. That's what that's what Saturn is when he's high, exalted. But when it's in Aries and it goes over sun, and he's just like, I need to pick up a fight with somebody. Oh, there's sun. Oh, before I leave the sun, I got to do something to this mofo. He's like, bam, bam, bam. That's exactly. It may sound like some sort of a parody or some stand-up comedy, right? All this probably the most horrible comedy you watched, but that's what Saturn is doing, really. But in Sagittarius, over every planet, Saturn is going to bring inspiration. Saturn is going to inspire your ego to do good, to be more sattvic, to be inspiring, and to be a teacher to other people. So ego is not really getting hurt. Ego is simply shifting from buying that Mercedes to actually buying books. That's what Saturn is doing. Saturn is really, whoever is now going in this world with this Saturn over Sun should be blessed, because you are so lucky that Saturn is not in the position to be grumpy over you. So whenever it goes over Sun, it's going to also bring responsibility and inspiration through the father. You're going to find inspiration through fatherly figures, your mentors, your teachers and gurus. Because Jupiter's teachers and gurus, right? Father is also that. Why? Because Sun is the significator of the 9th house. Your guru has to be your father-like figure who you will do anything to. So if your guru calls and says, I want you to be here, I want you to help me, you have to go. This is why be careful when you ask for a guru. Because if a guru comes, you'll have to do whatever the guru says. Just like when you say, oh, you're my internet guru. I'm like, are you sure you want me to be your internet guru? Because if I ever meet you, I want to take you to the bar and I'm going to make you buy the most expensive scotch for me. Buy all kinds of exotic meats for me. And then the party's going to start. So you see how much responsibility I will bring upon you. It goes over your moon. Many people are scared, right? Oh my God, I have my Sadhisati now coming. It is going right over my moon. I'm going to be like feeling depressed, because Saturn, when it brings limits, you feel depressed. Like let's say, oh my God, I can take this, I can do this, I can do everything I want in this world. I am so inspired. And then Saturn comes and puts this reality check on you. Suddenly you have to get up and you have to realize, oh, I have a job. Oh, I'm working 14 hours a day doing something I hate. Because you were just simply on a high, thinking, oh, the world is mine. Well, if it's yours, then take it. You didn't work for it, so you couldn't take it. But now what Saturn is doing is bringing practical, structured inspiration in your mind. Even over the Sadhisati, this is the Sadhisati where a person will feel greatly inspired. And especially if through Sarvashtavarga, and I know I'm going in a deep calculus end of astrology for those who are new, skip this part, but especially to Samudya Ashtavarga or Sarvashtavarga, if this Sagittarius sign receives high points, you bet you're going to be getting greatly inspired and finding great joy in the Sadhisati. You will also have responsibilities of the mother. Your mother's going to be inspired. Your mother, you may help out your mother. You may do some business with your mother. Your emotions are not going to be limited. They're just going to be inspired. You're going to be like, well, I was dreaming about that $1 billion business. And here I am working at a department store for $10 an hour. I am inspired, but let me be more practical. Before I make my first $1 billion, let me sell this product online. And if I can sell this one product, that's a good start. See how Saturn works over Moon. Like that, you get it. Goes over Mercury. Very logical. You'll be inspired to do logical, analytical things. Your communication will inspire people. When you talk, you will talk in a way where people will feel uplifted. Your communication is going to be to the point. You're not going to be beating around the bush anymore. When you have an idea, you will say it. When you have wanted to say something and get your message across, you will say it. You will not take part in gossip anymore. Even if your Mercury is debilitated with Venus in the 3rd house and you love gossiping and you're thinking, well, Saturn going over it, you'll feel like, you know what, too much of gossiping, let's talk about ideas. That's what Mercury will do with Venus in the third house. I mean, I'm just giving the example. Also, you will get serious about your studies. You will feel inspired with your studies. If before you were feel lethargic, unmotivated, because Saturn was in Scorpio, and let's say your Mercury was second from transiting Saturn, then you weren't inspired. Now you will feel like, okay, you know what, enough of this. I really need to get this calculus book down. I really need to get all my, learn this calculus and move on to the next one, because this is what's going to really help me become an innovative person who can probably land a tin can on Mars. That inspiration will come to take that test. Like so many people who email me or wanting to get a consultation to see if they can become an IAS officer. They can become civil service, going to civil service. Well, Mercury, your intelligence is going to be inspired to work hard towards it so it can learn. The memory part of Mercury will become very strong. Then, over Venus, you will feel very dedicated and very much responsible and devoted to your spouse, devoted to a woman in your life, your girlfriend, spouse, your boyfriend either, because Venus is spouse simply. You will be much more committed to them. So let's say if you were dating 2-3 people at a time, Saturn goes over Venus, is going to clear out all the mess. And you're going to feel inspired by just one person. Because Venus represents the highest of love. Our ability to love something much deeper than just a material plane. On the lower plane, Venus is all about sex and, romance and material things and sweets and eating the nice food at the luxurious restaurant. Just like when I see you as your guru, I'm gonna make you spend money on me, man. That's what Venus is. But the highest of Venus feels inspired to love something higher, to devote itself to something higher. So Saturn is gonna clear that and make you feel inspired towards finding a person, a right person in life. Then it's going over your Mars. So your birth Mars is going over your Mars. Finally, you will be inspired to take action, to be fit, to be energetic, to be courageous, to take on the challenges. It's very simple. There's no secret here. There's no, some magic trick here. It's very simple. When you see it in other people's chart, it will be there. Guys, if let's say you were striving to be an athlete, you're in high school, you want to make that basketball team, and you can't run, can't jump, bad back, pathetic like me and Larry Bird, this Saturn will inspire you to work hard so you can make that team. Saturn may also bring situations related to being inspired to buy a better house for yourself or to work on your house, your property. You will also engage in being inspired by your younger brother. Your male friends will be a great inspiration to you in this period. Then it goes over Jupiter. So Jupiter is in Sagittarius, right? Well, in Sagittarius, Jupiter is hope, inspiration, optimism. It's that euphoric feeling of just taking any kind of a risk and just jumping off a building and somehow, somewhere you're going to land fine because you're in Jupiter aura, you're in Jupiter's energy, right? Well, Saturn, when it comes over Jupiter, because it's in its own sign of Sagittarius, it'll inspire Jupiter to take righteous action. So instead of just studying, because Jupiter is a guru, right? Teacher who always studies, masters the art of philosophy and learning, Jupiter is going to inspire, or Saturn is going to inspire Jupiter to go out and make a change with the things that it has learned, to go out and teach, to go out and fight for the righteous things, because Jupiter is also law. Your gurus will be strict to inspire you to work hard. So if let's say your guru never called you before, now your guru will call you. Say, I want you to do this, I want you to learn this, I want you to do this, and then we're going to go here, we're going to go on this mountain and do this. So it's going to be like movable energy of Saturn. Like it's work, because Saturn is work. Saturn is his machine. Then comes Rahu and Ketu, the north and south node of the moon. Rahu is in Sagittarius. Saturn going over Rahu will break Rahu's illusion and will make the native realize what is true inspiration from bullshit inspiration. What is true optimism from BS high that you might be getting with this Rahu. Saturn clears all the illusions of Rahu out and tells Rahu to stick to something which is real. Stick to something which is more dharmic and sattvic. So Rahu is not bad in Sagittarius. Some of the great gurus, teachers are come out of with Rahu in Sagittarius. This can represent a guru or teacher who is greatly famous in foreign lands. But Rahu just needs to be on track. Because let's say, like, I'll give you a great example with Rahu in Sagittarius. I'm sure you might have heard of Maha-Avatar Babaji. He's like the gurus of Yogananda and Sri Yukteswar, and I'm forgetting his name. His name is Nath something. He's a famous guru on YouTube with the baby hair, the Kriya Yoga guru. I'm supposed to go see him actually. I might not. I have to see the schedule, but I definitely want to see him. Maha-Avatar Babaji has been living for literally eons, and he looks like a 19-year-old child, 90-year-old kid. He has just this magnetic look about him, just young, cheekbone. Like he can be a male model, man. He can model for Calvin Klein if he wanted to, appear in Calvin Klein show like that. But what happens with Rahu, if somebody is Rahu and they listen to a guru talk about that, look, I met him and he gave me this mantra. What Rahu's Sagittarius will do, he'll start seeing Babaji. Like, oh, I think I saw him. Yeah. They start creating this illusionary tale in their head that they are seeing something, because Rahu like explodes whatever it goes after. And Rahu is not a real thing. So Babaji thing that you're seeing is not really real. It's just you're thinking in your head because you heard about it. Saturn comes over it, over Rahu, and says, no, that's not how he appears to you. You have to work hard. You have to open up your chakras. You have to go deep into Kriya. And once you do that, that's when he appears to you. Fool. With Ketu, one will feel deeply inspired by philosophy, spirituality, yoga, meditation. One will finally take action towards knowing themselves internally. Be inspired to look within. Be inspired to take time off from the material world and to be inspired from the wealth that you have within. And that's it. That is all Saturn is going to do in Sagittarius over planets. And also the double transit phenomena. Saturn, see what double transit phenomena is. Anytime Jupiter-Saturn aspect a certain sign, or one of the other aspect each other, that particular sign becomes the most prominent sign in the chart for that particular time. Jupiter transits in a sign for 1 year, Saturn transits in a sign for 2.5 years. Sometimes even longer, depending upon its retrogression. So in that time period, literally 1 year, somehow, some way, at one point, they will either aspect a certain sign, or they'll aspect each other, or they will aspect one, or the other will aspect the other. So whatever sign is being influenced by these two planets becomes greatly active. Like right now, Jupiter is in Virgo, Saturn is in Scorpio. So the sign of Capricorn gets activated for this 3-4 months that are left. But after January of 2017, when Jupiter comes, or Saturn comes into the sign of Sagittarius, then the sign of Virgo will be greatly prominently active. Because Jupiter is sitting there, Saturn from its 10th aspect looks at Jupiter. So if you want me to show you, I'll show you on the board here. But sign of Virgo will be greatly activated. What this will show is people will be greatly focused towards health, diet, nutrition, going to work, exercising, healing, being inspired to heal other people. So that is going to be the double transit phenomenon of Jupiter and Virgo. Many people with this may also be having children. Many people might even lose virginity during this Jupiter-Saturn double transit. Why? Because Virgo is the virgin. Saturn, looking at it, is with Jupiter, is taking the virginity away. Usually you will see this with Mars and Jupiter as well. But these are the things that whatever Virgo is, things related to that will become more prominent. Okay. So guys, this was my analysis of Saturn over planets and double transit phenomenon of Saturn. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And also subscribe to my second YouTube channel, which is in the description. And if you want to know where your Saturn is placed, all your astrological information, details, my books, reports, consultations, for that, check out the links here. Otherwise, Dr. Transit will be here. I don't want to bother him. He's working on Friday. Bye-bye.